Hey, I wanted to make a video because I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I see happen all the time with buyers. So a lot of times we as real estate agents, we do things, and a lot of times sometimes buyers don't understand and they get frustrated. So I wanted to explain the reasons why we do things and hopefully try and take the frustration as a buyer out of it for you so you can understand why we're doing it. So as a real estate agent, my goal is to provide all my clients with the absolute best service possible. And what we run into as agents is when you're finding buyers online, a lot of times, sometimes buyers, they're not willing to get pre-qualified before we go look at a house. Now, as an agent, like I said, I want to provide my buyers with the absolute best service possible. So the first step before looking at a property is to get pre-qualified. Now, the only time people really give backlash and don't want to get pre-qualified is when the buyer isn't a real buyer anyways. So I just want to explain to you why you get pre-qualified first. Well, number one, it just makes sense. It's the next step in the process. The first thing you need to do is get pre-qualified, or you need to meet with me first, sit down where I can talk to you and discuss your real estate goals, go over exactly what you're looking for, educate you on the process so you know where you're at risk, the areas you're at risk and the areas you're protected, as well as a monetary investment into the process so you can make the best decision for yourself and your family. That's the whole purpose of that meeting, and that needs to happen before we go look at properties as well. Whether it comes before getting pre-qualified or not doesn't matter, but those are the steps. So you either have the meeting and get pre-qualified, or get pre-qualified and have the meeting. But either way, those two happen before you go look at properties. The reason I do this as a real estate agent is, number one, if I go and take you and look at a property and we have no idea what price range you even qualify for, we take a look at the property, you fall in love with the property, get pre-qualified, find out you can't qualify for that house, what's the point, right? I want to provide you with the absolute best service. There's nothing more frustrating than falling in love with the property and finding out you can't write an offer on it because you don't qualify. So might as well take that step out and get qualified first. So it's kind of frustrating to see buyers say, hey, like, take me to go look at this house, and they get angry at me for wanting them to get pre-qualified first, even when I thoroughly explain, hey, the process, you need to go get pre-qualified first. Why? Because we need to make sure you qualify for that property. That's just the reality of it, and those are the steps that need to be taken. I'm not doing it to be annoying and to make it harder. I'm doing it to make it easier on you. Also, as a real estate agent, when I'm working with online leads, I have to take into my safety into account for myself. So this actually happened to me a week ago. So this lead calls and he wants to go check out this property, and I tried to get him to qualify with my lender before we went and looked at the property, and I explained the reasons for the lender and why it's a good idea, and he kept coming back at me like, I just want to know what the payments are. I can qualify for it. I make this month $900 a week or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well then get pre-qualified. But no matter how many, and I had my lender call him, he wouldn't get pre-qualified with my lender. Why? I don't know. So he said, I contacted him again because he's like, hey, we really want to go see this house. And I said, okay, well, you need to get pre-qualified. This is why. Again, he gave me backlash again, saying I make this much, I can qualify. I'm like, okay, well, in order for me to tell you what we need to make an offer at for you to have the monthly payment that you want, I have to have that information. And I can't give you that information because, one, you have to take into account your debt to income ratio. The only person that can answer those questions is the lender, for me to give you 100% accurate information. And I think he finally was like, okay, fine, you know? So my lender tried to call him again, and he didn't get him pre-qualified, and I didn't know this, so he sounded like he was gonna get pre-qualified, right? So I set him up to go check out the property. I called the listing agent, I'm like, hey, can we come check out the property? They said, sure. So it came to that night where I was supposed to go take him to check out the property, and I still hadn't gotten a pre-approval letter. So I reached out to him like, hey man, like, I'm sorry, you need to get pre-qualified as an agent. I have strict rules on my business. The reason being is because I want to provide the absolute best service to my clients, and this is the first step before we go look at properties. He's like, okay, I'll send you the pre-qualification letter. I did get pre-qualified, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't think he got pre-qualified because I hadn't heard from my lender. My lender would let me know immediately if he was pre-qualified. So I'm like, that's a little strange. This guy's trying to get me to this property and he's not pre-qualified, and he says he's pre-qualified, but I don't think he's pre-qualified. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to make any assumptions. I'm like, okay, so you got to email that pre-qualification letter over to me then. So I called my my lender, right? And my lender's like, no, I never pre-qualified him. He said he didn't want to get pre-qualified and he was being weird and said he had bad credit. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna send over the pre-qualification letter. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I don't want to play games. I don't have any internet connection, and I'm gonna have to stop at the library to send it to you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I need that pre-qualification letter, like that I need it. Because number one, at this point, I'm like, holy cow, this guy's a little sketchy. That's a little weird. I need a pre-qualification letter. Like, I'm not gonna go show some random guy a random house all by myself when he's being weird like this and showing so much feedback and being rude, number one, and number two, being sketchy. So he ends up sending me an email saying that it was his pre-qualification letter. It was not a pre-qualification letter at all, okay? It didn't look anything like a pre-qualification letter. It was weird code, and I'm like, well, I really hope I did not just get hacked or something. I mean, if I did, fine, cool, joke's on him. But my point is, I didn't end up meeting him because as a real estate agent, think about the position that somebody's putting me in if they're not willing to get qualified. I don't want to go show a property to some man all by myself who's not even pre-qualified, who's being sketchy like this. I'm not going to take that risk, and I'm not going to do that. So that's another reason, safety, as why we want to meet with you first and want to get you pre-qualified, as I work with a lot of online leads. So that's another reason. Now, I wanted to explain this. I want to tell you the reason why we do it is not to be annoying. It's because it's the next best step in the process. If you're buying a property, you need to know how much you qualify for before you go look at properties. It makes the process simple. I'm not trying to make it harder than it needs to be. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I know a lot, most of the time it's the buyers who aren't serious who this happens with, but I just want to let you guys know why that is and why I do that in my business is because I want to provide you guys with the absolute best service, and that is the next step in the process, is to get pre-qualified first. So I hope that was valuable to you. I hope you understand why I do that as a real estate agent and see the value in it, and I hope you understand why we do that. So I wanted to make this quick video to let you guys know that. So have an amazing day.